Good evening. My name is Pledl. I'm a lawyer for people with disabilities. I think the reason that I get invited to things like this is because in 2004 I sued the family care system because of provider rate problems in Milwaukee County. We'll be talking about that lawsuit in a minute and about legal issues and legal rights. But before that, I just really want to make it clear. We have to make family care work. I do not want to tear down family care. I've been doing this a long time. I probably represented a couple thousand people in cases where they're being taken out of their home. Are there services that can keep them in their home? There are people in places they don't want to be. They want to get out. How do we provide services in their homes? And until family care came along, waiting lists were just a terrible, terrible problem. And so we'd have a situation where an elderly person who could be maintained with, bring in meals, bring in some outside nursing help, bring in a little bit of this and that, and they could have stayed in their homes. Well, if you suddenly need those services at age 80, and they tell you there's a 5-year waiting list for that service, that's probably not going to help you. And so we saw that same thing with individuals with developmental disabilities. They would live with their parents for a while, but their parents would say, the time is right for him to move out of our house, just like our other children did. And then they would find out that in some areas of the state, a 10-year, a 12-year, however many year waiting list before they get the services. And you heard before that the thing about services under the old system is that they were individually determined. And so you would develop these plans for waiver services. The programs are called KIP and COP and the brain injury waiver. I don't think people usually complained about the quality of the services because the individual rates were set. And in those days, we would actually talk about spending more money on people. I was part of the discharge planning team for over 100 situations where people with developmental disabilities were moving out of, it was mostly private nursing homes that were closing. And so we had to put together services for these folks because there really wasn't anywhere for them to go. And county representatives would actually be saying to residential providers and day program providers and employment providers, that isn't going to be enough for this particular person. Can we put on extra staff? Can we do additional things to keep this person safe? And that's the kind of stuff we did under the old system in order to tailor services to some really challenging folks who we needed to get into the community. And now, of course, the situation has changed. Now, I worked at Disability Rights Wisconsin as a staff attorney in the years leading up to managed care. Managed care started in Wisconsin in late 1999, and I think all of the disability advocates across the state understood that we had to give up something to get something, and that there would be some service dislocations, there would be some issues as we came into managed care in each part of the state. And I'm glad we did it. Looks pretty bad right now. We better fix this or it's going to get worse. But those of us who've been in this a long time know that there really just isn't any other way to do this, to eliminate waiting lists without doing something really dramatic with the system, and that's what we decided to do as a state.